Disclaimer: I doesn't claim any of the arts. All the picture shown belongs to the respective artist and company. If you are original owner and want me to remove the video, I will do it immediately. Just send me an email to inform me. And if you liked my content, please subscribe to the channel. Chapter begins and we see Orion Gardner, the 14th ranked leader of the Scaled Dragon Society, erupts with fury. His face twists, veins bulging as he bellows, "Damn it all! This isn't going as planned." Across the perilous snow-covered chasm, Theo battles fiercely against his adversary. Orion watches, his initial doubt replaced by a gnawing dread. Theo is far more formidable than he ever expected. He wonders just how powerful Theo truly is. This changes everything. A bead of cold sweat trickles down Orion's temple as his jaw tightens. This situation is far more complicated than he had foreseen. Axion, arrogant and overconfident, is actually losing. The thought ignites a dangerous idea in Orion's mind. Should he betray Axion and lend his support to Theo? After all, Axion has always been a cocky brat. Perhaps a little humbling is in order. Orion's face darkens, his expression inscrutable, as thoughts whirl chaotically in his mind, weighing risks against potential rewards. He has made his choice. "It's too late to switch sides now," he mutters to himself. "The Bureau's proctors are already here. They'll handle Theo. Our priority is to create a diversion." Orion raises his voice, cutting through the tense atmosphere. "Scaled Dragon Society, disperse now." His command echoes through the snow-laden trees like shadows swept away in a blizzard as his men vanish into the dense forest. "We need to get clear of this area," one hisses urgently. "This fight is beyond us. Axion's on his own." The whispers fade as they dissolve into the swirling snow. The scene shifts abruptly to a flashback. A young Axion stands in an opulent room, clutching a small ornate knife, his eyes still holding a childlike innocence. A voice heavy with authority resonates through the chamber, calling his name, Emil. Beside him stands Ed Troyvon in a flowing dark gown, their faces etched with grief and determination as they look down at young Axion. "The fate of Ragnar rests on your shoulders," Ed declares, his voice resonating with responsibility. "You must claim the throne." He steps forward, his expression chillingly wise yet ruthless. "The Ragnar name," he rasps, "is nothing but a facade, a carefully constructed illusion," as his piercing red eyes lock onto Ed's intense gaze. "You are a Troyvon," he states firmly, each word striking like a hammer blow. "Never forget your true bloodline. This is your birthright." We snap back to the present, where Axion stands ready for battle, an image of controlled fury as he observes Theo's combat skills with grudging respect. "Impressive," he admits reluctantly, a hint of apprehension creeping into his voice. With a burst of speed, Theo leaps across the chasm and lands with a thunderous thud, sword already arcing toward Axion. The duel ignites as Axion roars and meets Theo's attack head-on. The clash of their swords reverberates through the frozen air, a sharp, metallic clang underscoring the deadly nature of their encounter. Axion unleashes a furious assault. His sword blazes with an ominous red aura. Sparks erupt as their blades collide again and again, each impact shaking the very ground beneath them. The air crackles with tension as their eyes lock. Axion and Theo caught in a deadly dance of grim determination, each vying for dominance hidden among the snow-laden branches. Everything is proceeding according to plan, Theo thinks with chilling satisfaction. Within the confines of a shadowy chamber, figures gather around a large circular table. One stands to deliver his report. Theo Ragnar has finally made his appearance. He's currently engaged in combat with Axion Ragnar. Julius bursts into laughter. "About time," he exclaims. "Theo's finally making his move." Wolfgang frowns in confusion. "He wasn't eliminated? I thought our men took care of him," he says uncertainly. Ed lets out a subtle sigh of relief. "He lives. Excellent. Now the final phase can commence," he replies smoothly and calculatingly. A sinister smirk spreads across Ed's face. "Once Axion has served his purpose and extracted the information we require," he continues menacingly, "my hand-picked swordsmen will be waiting to cut him down." Two guards clad in ornate golden armor approach the table solemnly. "Lord Troyvon," one announces respectfully while bowing his head. "We have received new intel." Hearing this news about Axion and Theo engaged in battle ignites fury within Ed. Theo moves like a blur, a dizzying display of speed and skill, as he unleashes a storm of attacks using his gestures footwork technique. Each strike is aimed with deadly precision, while Axion struggles to defend himself against this relentless onslaught. Theo's sword becomes an arc of flashing light, a whirlwind of lethal intent. The air sings with the whoosh of his blade as each pass narrowly misses its mark. Axion acknowledges Theo's remarkable growth, the sheer power behind every strike. He's strong, a lot stronger than I thought. Yet amid Theo's ferocity, Axion's keen eyes detect a flaw. He's powerful, but he's not that fast. There's a pattern here, as he deciphers the rhythm of attacks and anticipates the next move. I'm starting to see through your little dance. With growing confidence, Axion takes his stance and readies his sword before launching it at Theo with maximum speed, while declaring menacingly, "I can read them all." As Theo watches, a sudden object flies toward him. He stares at the weapon, his eyes widening in disbelief. "A throwing technique," he exclaims, surprise filling his voice. The 4 training members around him gasp, their faces pale with shock. The unexpected appearance of the thrown sword has shaken their confidence. Suddenly, we flash back to Theo's past, where he faced a thrown sword in his previous life. His eyes are cold and sharp, fixed on Theo. "There's a major flaw in your strategy," he states, disdain dripping from his voice. Axion continues, delivering a chilling lesson in combat. "Relying on flashy moves only telegraphs your next action. You're making it far too easy for me to predict what you'll do." A single drop of blood falls from Axion's blade onto the pure white snow below. But Theo surprises everyone by catching Axion's sword with his bare hand. His eyes narrow as he focuses on Axion, recognizing the technique. A cold realization washes over him as he says, "So it was you?" Memories flood back of the cloaked figure from his last moments before regression. Axion stares at the lifeless body, his mind racing. The dead man's face twisted in a silent scream is burned into his memory. The cloaked figure pulls his hood down further, hiding his features in shadow. He stands still. Axion's eyes blaze with an almost inhuman intensity. His patience is wearing thin. "End this," he commands, his voice cold and sharp. A wave of fury washes over Theo. His face twists into a mask of rage and grief as he remembers the burning palace, the screams and overwhelming sense of loss. "The brat who did this, it was you," he shouts angrily. The scene shifts again, taking us deeper into Theo's memories. The magnificent Rose Palace is engulfed in flames. "The day I died," Theo's voice echoes through the painful memory as he recalls running through the burning halls of the palace, desperation clawing at him. "I was meant to die that day," he thinks bitterly, never knowing who was responsible for this horror. A single tear rolls down Theo's cheek, his voice cracks with emotion. "All because I was helpless, powerless. Rendan's carelessness was a stroke of luck." He muses with a cruel smile twisting his lips. He removed his mask at just the wrong moment, a fatal mistake. Now filled with newfound determination, Theo declares loudly, "Thanks to Evelyn's relentless investigation, I uncovered the truth." His eyes harden with resolve as he recalls how Rendan and Camellia Palace were deeply intertwined, as he realizes that it was only logical to conclude that Camellia Palace was behind the attack. The cloaked figure remains shrouded in mystery, his face hidden and motives unknown, adding to the growing tension. Theo's mind races as he pieces together clues. One detail stands out. Among all the Troyvan warriors, only one person uses the sword-throwing technique. The realization hits him like lightning. Axion Ragnar. Theo analyzes Axion's fighting style with sharp clarity. Throwing a sword is a reckless gamble, a high-risk move only someone consumed by arrogance would attempt. Doubt vanishes from Theo's mind as certainty takes its place. "I wasn't sure at first," he admits with newfound conviction, "but now that I've seen it firsthand, there's no denying the truth." With bloodied fingers tightening around Axion's sword, Theo applies pressure and cracks it. The sound echoes through the air like thunder. "What is it with you people? Why are you so determined to end my life?" he yells furiously. Axion stares in stunned disbelief. His eyes widen as he realizes Theo just broke a sword with his bare hand. You broke it?" he stammers, shock and awe mixing in his voice. Theo lets the broken pieces fall to the ground and declares firmly, "This isn't like before. I won't make the same mistakes again." In one swift motion, he catches Axion's broken sword midair and grips it tightly. A steely glint enters Theo's eyes as determination sets on his face. "I will survive," he vows, his voice echoing with newfound strength. "And I will protect those I fight alongside." With a surge of power, Theo hurls the broken sword toward Axion. Unimpressed by this display of strength, Axion scoffs contemptuously. "What was that pathetic attempt? A pale imitation of my technique. You truly are a fool." But then something changes. Axion narrows his eyes as recognition sparks within them. A shiver runs down his spine as he realizes something unsettling about Theo's aura. "What in the world is this killing intent?" he thinks to himself anxiously. Theo's mana surges. A wave of raw energy explodes outward, filling the air with intense pressure that makes Axion feel suffocated and overwhelmed by Theo's power. How can his mana levels be this high? A horrifying realization dawns on him. Fear floods through him as he wonders if Theo had been holding back during their first encounter. Was this all part of his plan? Caught off guard by Theo's swift attack, Axion barely has time to react as Theo swings his sword with devastating force. A wave of pure energy rips through the forest, leaving destruction in its wake. Trees splinter and explode. The ground trembles while the air crackles with raw power. In a flash, Axion fends off Theo's assault. Theo, eyes ablaze, hoists his magical blade skyward. The sword gleams with an eerie radiance, then whooshes down at breakneck speed, aiming to cleave Axion's skull. Axion, heart pounding, barely manages to raise his weapon in time, steel clashing against steel with a resounding clang. Theo, consumed by wrath, pushes Axion backward, gaining the upper hand in this epic clash. He launches a direct strike at Axion's head, but at the last breath, Axion twists away. Yet Theo's blade still finds its mark, leaving a crimson line across Axion's cheek. Seizing the moment, Theo presses forward, a wicked grin spreading across his face. He taunts, his words dripping with venom. "Is this the limit of your vaunted might?" Axion's features contort with unbridled fury. He snarls, his voice a primal roar. In a lightning-fast move, Axion seizes Theo's wrist. Caught off guard, Theo stumbles, his balance shattered, eyes wide with shock. Disbelief paints Theo's face as he spots Axion's blade hurtling towards his head. He dodges by a hair's breadth, but Axion's sword still finds flesh, drawing blood. Theo leaps back, narrowly avoiding further harm. Axion rolls to his feet, ready to continue the dance of death. Both warriors retreat, seeking advantageous ground for their next assault. Theo assumes his stance, readying himself. In the blink of an eye, he vanishes, reappearing before Axion, eyes glowing in otherworldly blue, poised to strike. With lightning speed, Theo disarms Axion, sending his opponent's sword spinning through the air. Axion stands bewildered, struggling to comprehend the turn of events. Theo, face set with grim resolve, grits his teeth and channels all his might into one final, devastating attack. "Axion," Theo growls, "do you know the agony of a blade through your gut?" His eyes burn with icy rage as he lunges forward with all his strength. Axion, frozen in shock, can only watch in horror as Theo's sword closes in, aimed straight for his head. "Hello everyone! Thank you so much for watching my videos. I've just launched an Instagram page, and I would love for you to follow me there as well. This way, we can stay more connected and keep you updated on all the latest news and developments regarding the channel. Your support means a lot." It seems someone was taken. The only one capable of such a feat is Axion. Erica and Remington exchanged glances. "Axion, but he's in first place." Holkus pondered aloud. Does he want to collect more bells? Realization struck Remington as his eyes narrowed. It appeared Axion had taken Theo's subordinates as hostages to lure him out. His voice hardened with determination. He intends to eliminate Theo during the second blooming ceremony. Holkus fumed, exclaiming that a fair fight was the only way to go about it. "What is he even doing?" Erica, ever practical, observed. "Turns out Axion is a coward." Holkus, still seething, shouted back, "So what?" Erica explained calmly, "This is Ragnar's blooming ceremony. Such situations are normal." Remington fell silent, deep in thought, his expression unreadable. Finally, he spoke, his voice laced with disapproval. "That's why I dislike Ragnar. Even if this is a contest of strength, it's still unacceptable." Erica cautioned him, her eyes piercing into his. "Your words are dangerous. Are you serious?" With newfound resolve, Remington declared firmly, "I must save his subordinates. If it were Theo, he would do the same." Holkus turned to Erica urgently. "If you come with me, you'd be of great help." He gestured emphatically. "We must go. You're coming with us, right?" Erica's response was blunt and cold. No, I'm not interested, she elaborated disdainfully. I followed you thinking I could meet Theo Ragnar, but I don't see him. I really hate weak men and don't want to save them. Hulkus retorted sharply. Sis, are you trash? Erica snapped back at Hulkus in anger. Remington stepped forward knowingly. Erica, he said, I know why you want to meet Theo. Her eyes widened in surprise at his statement. Remington continued persuasively. I guarantee that if you help me this time, it will greatly assist you in achieving your goal. Remington, Hulkus, and Erica sprinted through the snowy expanse with their mission clear. Remington glanced back determinedly and urged them on. Wait just a bit longer. A sword suddenly appeared out of nowhere, blocking their path as a hand gripped the hilt with clear intent. Stop. The sword's owner stepped forward to bar their way. You can't go any further, he commanded. In the distance emerged a group of figures with swords drawn, forming an imposing barrier. Recognition flashed in Remington's eyes as Orion of the Scaled Dragon Society stepped forward with a smirk on his lips. It's been a while, he said sarcastically. I can't believe you abandoned us for some fool. Orion continued tauntingly while Hulkus exploded in anger at being called stupid bears who relied on muscle over brains. Feigning innocence, Orion replied coyly that he hadn't said all that, but Remington's voice cut through the tension like a knife. Move aside, Orion. I don't want to fight an old friend. Orion stood firm and refused to budge. Remington's gaze hardened as he tightened his grip around his sword hilt. If you don't move, his voice threatened as he swung his sword forward. In response, Remington and Hulkus charged toward them at full speed with deadly intent. The scene shifted dramatically to Sybil's wide eyes filled with shock and pain. Sybil struggled to untie himself using Axion's broken sword that had landed nearby after Theo had thrown it away. Desperately thinking this was his chance given by young Master Theo, Sybil resolved to cut himself free. He glanced toward the fight where a hooded figure clashed between Theo and Axion, two swords colliding amidst a shower of sparks that echoed through the stillness. Theo wielded his moonlight sword fiercely against a cloaked opponent while sweat dripped from his brow under the intensity of battle. He's finally coming forward, he whispered grimly. Liam Troyvon? Liam offered a somber apology to young Master Axion before admitting heavy-heartedly that he would accept punishment after the blooming ceremony exam supervisor, Senior Prosecutor Liam Troyvon. The clash resumed as Theo and Liam danced around each other in a whirlwind of deadly grace. Liam barked orders for escorts for young Master Axion, while in the background one of Liam's men confirmed their readiness. Liam dashed through the snowy terrain with incredible speed as his forces surrounded Axion with swords poised and ready for action. Addressing Axion firmly yet respectfully, Liam declared, Young Master Axion, you've fought enough. Let us handle the rest. As Liam's subordinates presented Axion with his dropped sword, Axion gripped it firmly while staring ahead with an unreadable expression. With seriousness flickering in his eyes, Liam swung his sword powerfully towards Theo with lethal intent once more. Theo gritted his teeth and deflected Liam's blow just in time. Prepared for counterattack now that Liam was off balance momentarily, Theo braced himself for what seemed inevitable, his eyes filled with determination, cold, calculating face. Realizing he couldn't be pushed back by either Axion or today's new senior prosecutors, brought forth by Liam Troyvon, made him aware this was his only chance to eliminate Theo without any supervisors nearby. A flicker of regret crossed his mind at wasting such talent, but steeling himself for what was needed, for Troyvon pushed him onward. Liam brought down his sword towards Theo in a deadly arc, whispering goodbye, as Theo's eyes suddenly ignited with an eerie red light, capturing all attention around him. The intensity of Theo's glowing red eye amidst blood splatters sent shockwaves through Liam, who widened his own eyes in horror as blood sprayed from where a sword pierced through his chest, causing him to recoil in agonizing pain. Liam cried out alarmingly, while young Master Axion stared at wide-eyed in disbelief at what transpired before him. His voice, distorted yet filled with chilling rage, whispered ominously, "I was clear, no one is to interfere." And with that, this chapter ends. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Support this channel by liking this video and subscribing the channel. And if you want me to recap another manhwa or manga, write its name on comment section. And if you want to know what happened in previous chapter, you can watch them in this YouTube channel.